Number of years ago came and took our photographs and the children's photographs. So to be invited.
In Hollywood, where every appearance becomes evidence and every photograph turns into a verdict, even a single change can set off a global reaction. That is exactly what happened when Keely Shea Smith, the wife of former James Bond star Pierce Brosnan, stepped into the spotlight with a visibly transformed appearance that immediately triggered headlines, social media breakdowns, and before and after comparisons across decades. Pierce Brosnan's wife is turning heads after her stunning weight loss. Let's see how it all unfolded from the very beginning. How Pierce Brosnan and Keely Shea Smith first met and grew close. Long before social media turned celebrity marriages into daily public spectacles, Pierce Brosnan was still rebuilding his life after a devastating personal loss. By 1994, the Irish actor had already lived through a tragedy that permanently altered him. His first wife, Australian actress Cassandra Harris, had died from ovarian cancer in December 1991 at just 43 years old. Brosnan later described the grief as something that shadowed every part of his life. Then, in April 1994, during a trip to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, everything changed unexpectedly. At a beachside gathering linked to the entertainment industry, he met Keely Shea Smith, a 30-year-old journalist who was there on assignment as an entertainment correspondent. She had originally been scheduled to interview actor Ted Danson, but fate redirected the evening. At the time, Brosnan was standing at the edge of a career explosion. Just 1 year later, in 1995, he would debut as James Bond in GoldenEye, relaunching the franchise after a 6-year hiatus and helping the film earn more than $350 million worldwide. But when Keely met him in Mexico, he was not James Bond. Keely later recalled being struck not just by his looks, but by his energy and intensity. Brosnan, meanwhile, was immediately captivated by her presence, later praising her strength and vitality in interviews years afterward. Their first real evening together stretched until 3 in the morning beneath fireworks and live music from singer Kenny Loggins. It sounded less like a Hollywood networking event and more like a scene from a romantic thriller unfolding under the Baja California night sky. Keely was far from an outsider, dazzled by fame. Born in Vallejo, California in 1963, she had already built a varied career by the early 1990s. She had modeled, acted in television productions including General Hospital, appeared in a 1986 music video with Huey Lewis, and transitioned into journalism. She worked as a correspondent for programs connected to ABC and NBC, interviewing major celebrities including Oprah Winfrey and Madonna. Unlike many Hollywood relationships built around publicity cycles, theirs developed slowly and privately. They traveled constantly, but friends later described them as unusually grounded for a celebrity couple. By 1997, their relationship had already moved into a deeper phase. That January, they welcomed their first son, Dylan Thomas Brosnan. 4 years later, in February 2001, their second son, Paris Beckett Brosnan, was born. Those years also coincided with Brosnan's peak Bond era. Between 1995 and 2002, he headlined 4 James Bond films, becoming one of the highest-profile actors on Earth. Yet even during premieres, red carpets, and massive global press tours, Keely remained a constant presence beside him. Photographs from Sydney, Beverly Hills, London, and Cannes showed the couple moving through the chaos together while raising children away from the noise of Hollywood nightlife. Then came August 4th, 2001. After 7 years together, they married at the historic Ballintubber Abbey, an 800-year-old abbey in County Mayo, Ireland. Security around the ceremony was intense. Reports from the time described a tightly controlled guest list of roughly 100 people, with celebrations continuing later at nearby Ashford Castle. The wedding had originally faced delays because of family matters involving Brosnan's children, but the eventual ceremony became one of the most closely watched celebrity weddings in Ireland that year. The public image of a long-term Hollywood marriage. Studies from entertainment analysts and celebrity media trackers have repeatedly shown that high-profile marriages collapse at rates far above the general population, especially when global fame, touring schedules, and relentless tabloid exposure enter the equation. Against that backdrop, the relationship between Pierce Brosnan and Keely Smith became something unusual. A marriage that survived the exact pressures that usually destroy Hollywood couples. From the moment they met in Cabo San Lucas in 1994 to their marriage in Ireland in 2001 and beyond, their public image evolved into a strange contradiction inside celebrity culture. In an industry addicted to scandal, they became famous partly because they seemed to avoid it. That image intensified because Brosnan was not just another actor. By the mid-1990s, he had become James Bond, one of cinema's most scrutinized masculine icons. GoldenEye in 1995 revived the Bond franchise after a 6-year break and grossed over $350 million worldwide. Tomorrow Never Dies followed in 1997, The World Is Not Enough in 1999, and Die Another Day in 2002 crossed $430 million globally. Suddenly, Brosnan was no longer simply a respected Irish actor. He was the face of luxury watches, tailored suits, Aston Martins, and the fantasy of effortless sophistication. In Hollywood logic, men occupying that position were expected to drift toward younger partners, endless rumors, or high-profile divorces. Instead, audiences kept seeing the same thing at premieres from London to Los Angeles. Brosnan arriving hand-in-hand with Keely Smith. That consistency became part of the fascination. Brosnan once described Keely as my North Star. Then came the internet age. By the late 2000s and especially through the 2010s, celebrity culture had become increasingly driven by viral images, body commentary, and social media comparison culture. Keely's appearance became a recurring topic in tabloids and online threads, particularly after she gained weight over the years. Side-by-side, then and now photos circulated constantly. Yet the backlash against those discussions became almost as powerful as the original criticism. Some commenters defended Keely passionately, calling her model beautiful even in her 60s. Others criticized the media framing itself, arguing that praising Brosnan for remaining attracted to his wife revealed how warped celebrity culture had become. The James Bond actor said, in no unclear terms, "I love my wife's curves." He rarely avoided the topic. Many celebrities sidestep appearance-based discussions entirely through publicists or rehearsed answers. Brosnan instead leaned directly into affirming his wife publicly. In interviews with Fox News and People, he spoke less about physical appearance than emotional endurance. He described watching someone grow old with you as a spiritual journey. He openly connected Keely's support to his ability to continue acting, painting, and navigating public life. Those comments landed differently because Brosnan's personal history carried real tragedy. Before Keely, he had lost his first wife, Cassandra Harris, to ovarian cancer in 1991, and later lost his adopted daughter Charlotte to the same disease in 2013. At the same time, Keely's own public identity complicated the narrative further. She was not simply Pierce Brosnan's wife. Before and during their marriage, she worked as a journalist, environmental activist, model, and documentary filmmaker. Yet entertainment media repeatedly reduced her story to physical transformation headlines. Articles in outlets like People, OK Magazine, and Life and Style framed her recent weight loss as a stunning transformation, often placing before and after photos at the center of coverage. But Keely herself consistently projected a different message. As far back as 2006, she openly declared that she would never hide in baggy clothing, embracing both aging and body changes publicly. This was years before body positivity became a mainstream celebrity talking point. But then, the Bond girl decided to stun everyone. How Pierce Brosnan's wife stunned everyone with her weight loss. By 2025, the internet had turned Keely Smith into the center of one of celebrity culture's strangest recurring obsessions: her body. Every new public appearance beside Pierce Brosnan triggered another explosion of headlines, side-by-side photographs, and transformation articles. But this time, something had changed dramatically. Photos from red carpet appearances and public outings in early 2025 showed Smith with a visibly slimmer figure, and entertainment media reacted instantly. Within days, major outlets, including People, OK Magazine, Life and Style, and Yahoo Entertainment, were publishing stories focused almost entirely on what they called her stunning transformation. The headlines spread at algorithmic speed, driven by the same internet culture that had spent years scrutinizing her appearance in the first place. The visual contrast became the centerpiece of the coverage. Publications repeatedly used archival photographs from the mid-1990s beside newer 2025 images, constructing a cinematic then versus now narrative. One of the most recycled images came from the 1995 Golden Eye premiere in Sydney, Australia, where Smith stood beside Brosnan during the height of his James Bond ascent. Another heavily circulated photo showed Brosnan cradling Smith's pregnant belly in Beverly Hills in 1996, before the birth of their first son, Dylan Thomas Brosnan, in January 1997. These older images were then contrasted against sleek modern red carpet shots from 2025. The fascinating part was not just the transformation itself, but how the media framed it. Many media articles reduced her professional history into a brief sentence before pivoting directly back toward appearance. The phrase "weight loss journey" became the dominant narrative framework, overtaking discussions about journalism, environmental interests, activism, or even family life. That framing intensified because Smith's story already carried years of emotional baggage online. Throughout the 2010s and early 2020s, internet discourse repeatedly fixated on her weight gain. Viral Reddit posts, celebrity blogs, and tabloid headlines often paired photos of the couple with admiration for Brosnan's loyalty. In many cases, the internet treated ordinary marital affection like a shocking act of rebellion. By 2025, when slimmer photos emerged, coverage flipped direction almost instantly. Suddenly, the same media ecosystem that once framed Smith as proof of aging naturally began celebrating her transformation with language usually reserved for Hollywood comeback stories. The speculation machine moved quickly. Articles hinted at wellness routines, dietary changes, and health-conscious living without offering concrete medical details. Publications tied her appearance to years of lifestyle habits already visible on her social media presence. Smith had long posted about gardening, tropical living, fresh produce, and organic food. In 2020, she shared photos discussing harvesting coconuts and embracing healthy living. At the same time, the conversation about aging never disappeared. Smith entered her 60s during this media frenzy. Celebrity culture historically treats women over 50 with brutal contradictions. Aging naturally invites criticism. Cosmetic surgery invites criticism. Weight gain becomes a story. Weight loss becomes another story. Smith's 2025 coverage reflected that impossible balancing act perfectly. Many headlines praised her confidence and authenticity while simultaneously dissecting her appearance in forensic detail. Admiration and surveillance became tangled together. Brosnan's quotes resurfaced constantly like recurring echoes in the coverage cycle. "I love my wife's curves" appeared repeatedly across articles, social posts, and comment sections. Another frequently recycled statement described Smith as stunning. Journalists used these quotes almost ritualistically, weaving them into stories about body positivity, marriage, and aging. Keely Smith's weight loss journey was not a sudden transformation, but a gradual process built on long-term lifestyle changes. Reports like Pink Villa suggest she lost around 100 pounds over roughly 2 years by replacing short-term dieting with consistent, repeatable habits that she could maintain in everyday life. Early on, she tried structured diet systems such as low-carb and Atkins-style plans, where she reduced carbohydrate intake significantly. These approaches helped her initially, but did not remain part of her long-term routine. After that, she shifted toward a more balanced plan focused on overall nutrition rather than strict restriction. She worked with nutritionists, trainers, and healthcare professionals who helped her build a structured but flexible system centered on whole foods like lean proteins, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and reduced processed sugar. She also adjusted how she structured her meals throughout the day. She started her mornings with protein and fiber-based breakfasts such as oatmeal, eggs, or Greek yogurt to support energy and satiety. She built lunches around salads paired with lean protein. To add healthy fats, she'd throw in some olive oil or nuts. At dinner, she combined steamed or roasted vegetables with lighter proteins and slow-digesting carbohydrates like quinoa or brown rice. Between meals, she relied on controlled snacking, choosing fruit, almonds, nuts, or yogurt, and she replaced sugary drinks with water, green tea, and black coffee to reduce empty calories. She also paid attention to portion control and calorie balance rather than extreme restriction. Reports describe her reducing overall intake gradually while still prioritizing nutrient density, aiming for steady fat loss instead of rapid weight changes. Hydration became a consistent part of her routine, with regular water intake used to support metabolism, digestion, and overall energy levels. On the fitness side, she followed a mixed training structure. She did cardio exercises such as walking, jogging, cycling, and treadmill sessions to support calorie burn and cardiovascular health. She added strength training to preserve lean muscle mass, using resistance-based exercises like squats, planks, leg raises, and core work to improve stability and metabolism. Gym-based workouts were complemented by flexibility and recovery work, including stretching routines and yoga, which helped with mobility and stress management during a long and demanding process. Her approach also included consistency rather than intensity spikes. Instead of relying on occasional extreme workouts, she maintained regular weekly activity, combining moderate cardio with structured strength sessions. Mindfulness practices, including breathing exercises and yoga, offered emotional balance and helped reduce stress-related setbacks. The public reaction revealed something deeper than celebrity gossip. Online discussions frequently shifted into debates about modern beauty standards and social media distortion. Commenters pointed out how unusual it had become to see a long-term Hollywood couple age together publicly without divorce scandals, dramatic reinventions, or younger replacement partners. Others criticized the obsession with Smith's body entirely, arguing that the media's fixation exposed broader societal discomfort with aging women. Some Reddit users bluntly observed that people acted shocked that Brosnan still adored the woman he had spent over 30 years with. Meanwhile, the transformation coverage continued snowballing because visually driven celebrity media thrives on timelines. Before and after imagery is one of the internet's most powerful storytelling tools. It compresses decades into seconds. In Smith's case, the narrative stretched from beachside 1995 photographs in Australia to glamorous 2025 red carpet appearances. The audience was not simply consuming celebrity news anymore. They were watching a 30-year visual archive unfold in real time. But a broader discussion was also fermenting online. Praise, criticism, and body image debate. Few Hollywood marriages have triggered as much internet debate over aging, beauty, and loyalty as the relationship between Pierce Brosnan and Keely Smith. What began as celebrity gossip slowly evolved into something far larger. A cultural argument unfolding across Reddit threads, entertainment websites, viral memes, and comment sections with millions of views. Entertainment outlets pushed dramatic transformation narratives, while social media users reposted side-by-side images with captions praising Brosnan for continuing to adore his wife after decades together. In internet terms, it was framed almost like a miracle ending to a Hollywood story. Supporters flooded comment sections defending Smith against years of appearance-based criticism. Thousands praised her natural aging process, especially compared to Hollywood's growing dependence on cosmetic surgery, filters, and AI-enhanced beauty imagery. Netizens repeatedly described Smith as beautiful, model gorgeous, and aging like a real human being. Others pointed out that she was already considered conventionally attractive long before the viral debates even existed. Many commenters argued that the backlash toward her revealed more about society's expectations than about Smith herself. One recurring theme appeared again and again. People had forgotten what ordinary aging actually looked like. But the praise quickly collided with criticism from another direction. Some Reddit users became frustrated with the way Brosnan himself was being framed online. Viral posts often treated him as some rare saint for remaining attracted to the woman he married in 2001. Critics argued that this framing unintentionally insulted Smith while lowering the standards for male behavior to absurd levels. One widely upvoted Reddit comment bluntly observed that Brosnan was not performing an extraordinary act by loving his wife through physical change. He was simply acting like a husband in a long-term marriage. Another commenter argued that constantly praising him for staying with her implied that he should have left once she aged or gained weight. That tension exposed one of the internet's most uncomfortable contradictions. On the surface, many viral posts promoted body positivity, yet the posts themselves still centered obsessively on Smith's body. Even when people defended her, they often did so by repeatedly discussing her weight, curves, aging, or physical appearance. Her identity as a journalist, actress, environmental advocate, and mother frequently disappeared behind headlines about weight loss transformations or natural aging. The very culture claiming to reject shallow beauty standards often reinforced them by making appearance the permanent focal point. Meanwhile, many commenters pointed out the obvious imbalance in the conversation. Brosnan himself had visibly aged too. The former James Bond actor, born in 1953, now appeared gray-haired and older in public photographs, just as Smith did. Yet internet discussions overwhelmingly focused on her physical changes rather than his. Users repeatedly questioned why aging women in Hollywood become forensic case studies, while aging men are often described as distinguished or silver foxes. The emotional weight of the story grew stronger because Brosnan and Smith's relationship remained unusually stable by Hollywood standards. They met in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, in 1994, married in Ireland in 2001, and stayed together through decades of fame, loss, parenthood, and relentless public attention. In an entertainment industry filled with short-lived marriages and tabloid chaos, their relationship became symbolic. Brosnan's repeated public praise, including quotes like, "I love my wife's curves," and describing Smith as the most beautiful woman in his eyes, transformed him into an internet benchmark for loyalty and affection. Yet even those famous quotes became controversial. Some users found them heartwarming. Others argued the quotes had been flattened into simplistic viral slogans stripped of context. Complex decades-long relationships were being reduced into single emotional sound bites optimized for engagement algorithms. The internet turned a private marriage into a morality play about aging and attraction. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Did you like this video? If you did, please consider liking, dropping a comment, and hitting the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on our new uploads. Also, don't miss this video you see on your screen right now. It's truly unbelievable.